Dear viewers, wherever you are, hello and welcome to this new episode of your program, Out of the Box. The use of a double standard has been the subject of many mutual allegations between different cultures, different countries, different religions since the dawn of history. So, how true are these allegations and accusations? And do we have a good party and a bad party? Do two wrongs make a right? To delve deeper into this, I'm really delighted to be accompanied by Essam Bayoumi, the writer and thinker. Essam, hello and welcome to the program.
Hi, Muhammad. Thank you for having me today.
It's always a pleasure. So, a double standard. First of all, how would you define this word, double standard?
Yes, to understand this term or phrase, we should go a little bit back in history to say that, for example, throughout the history, ever since Hammurabi laws and in most of the known laws on earth, there was the principle of treating people with equality or principity, I guess, reciprocality, I mean. So, but down the history and very recently, like maybe around the World War I, the First World War, they're used to come to rise the meaning of double standard. And I believe the double standard is, of course, in its simple definition, is using a criteria to treat some people and a different one or the opposite one to treat other people. So no equality in treating people of equal humanity. So, but the meaning of double standard, I believe, started with the around the World War I, as I said, and it came from when the powers or the ruling powers of the world system that we have now started to tighten their grip all over the world, and from there they started to govern the world according to their liking. If they like it, they apply a standard. If they don't like, they apply a different standard. And from there came the meaning of double standard.
So, do you think it's a sort of a new phenomenon? Is it a new phenomenon? Is it a new phenomenon? It's something that just rose to the surface after World War I? Is it, or is it as old as humanity itself?
Like there is a little bit difference between the double standard as we know it now and oppression in general, generally speaking. Like there, of course, throughout history there were oppression and different treating of people, treatment of people. But the meaning of double standard as we know it now surfaced and started to be known, like as clear as it is now, around as World War I, as I said, and it became a term in political science ever since.
So, since the dawn of time, humans have always, tended to exalt themselves and downgrade others. And they would always treat others who are different, who have a different color of skin, different ethnic group, different belief, and whatnot. They would treat them as lower beings or as inferior beings. Now, is this hardwired in humanity? Do we have anything from history that proves otherwise? Do we have a time in history where there was complete fairness and complete objectivity, if you like?
Sure. Yeah, I agree with what you said in the beginning, that this is maybe hardwired in humanity. It's in the nature that if you go with like believing in religion, any religion told us that human beings have both qualities, doing good and doing bad, and that some people when they get the power, they can oppress and do wrongdoings to the other people who are less powered than them. So, but when the religion is applied the right way, this disappears. This double standard or this oppression disappears. Like in the example is, as I said, when Prophet Muhammad came to being and he started his call for Islam, one of the first things that he said and mentioned and made a rule out of it, that he said there is no double standard. And he said, what is in the meaning that if Fatima bint Muhammad stole, then Muhammad will apply the punishment of cutting her hand as he will do to every or anyone who does this or commit this crime. And he said there is no double standard in Islam. So when the religion is applied the right way, yes, there is a chance that fairness will rule.
Okay, so you said the Prophet of Islam said that if his daughter would steal, then he would apply the punishment to her, just like he would apply it to anyone else. But again, if we talk about religion here, actually, religion was part and parcel of the double standard, actually, or the double standards that were applied throughout history. And please correct me if I'm wrong, as far as I think, I think all religions, with no exception, were used to apply these double standards. That's the first thing. The second thing is that when you read religious text in scripture, there are obvious, lines that might be considered as favorism, like you're favoring someone over the other. So this race or this group or this group of believers are, by default better than the non-believers and whatnot. What do you say to this?
Yeah, thank you for this question, because I think it will clear a lot of stuff. And the main thing that it will clear, that there is a big difference between Islam and any other religion, by the way. Maybe we never talked about this. The main difference between Islam and any other religion is that you can't compare them. Why? Because all the religions before Islam, which are considered in some level of thinking as part of Islam itself, are just came to specific people. But Islam came to whole humanity. And that's why it's as Muslims believe, it's the completion of all the idea of religion. It's the full version of religion. So you can't compare Islam to any other religion and you say all religions have double standard. It might be understood in other religions or faith before, that they would say we have this for us and we are better than other people because we have it, for example, like some people said. But with Islam doesn't differentiate between people on any level, or any basis. Islam says people are equal in all aspects of life, and the best of them is the best to God, who does the good deeds to God. Not if someone is rich or strong or powerful or have a big tribe or something like this. So the comparison between Islam and other religions in this respect is not the right thing. And from here, I can claim as a Muslim that Islam doesn't have this double standard. And as I said, the hadith that, or the saying by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace be upon him, that I mentioned about stealing, and that he will cut his own daughter's hand if she does this. And he even in the completion of the saying of the hadith says, and this is the sickness that destroyed the people from previous times, because when they had stuff like this or incidents like this, if the noble people steal, they would let them go, and if the poor people steal, they would cut their hands or apply the punishment to them. So there used to be, yes, the double standard or the oppression or the misguidance. But with Islam, there is no chance for this if it's applied the right way. I have a big condition here, a big if it's applied the right way. Because as I said in a different interview before, when Islam is applied the right way, yes, it's the whole good for humanity, the whole peace, whole harmony. But if the people who apply the Islam go astray or go wrong, then you find what we have nowadays in our world.
Okay, so how is Islam really different from the other religions? Because again, in the Quran, which is the holy book of Muslims, there are many clear, messages that refer to some races and some believers of some religions as evil people, and that those people are damned and they're doomed, while it exalts the believers and say that you are the best people who are ever walked on this earth.
Yes.
So how can you claim that Islam is infallible and is immune against a double standard? And
Yes.
that the text itself, I'm not talking here about the application, because you can argue that people didn't apply it well. But in the text itself, there's favoritism, and there's obvious preference of one side more than the other. But if I use your standards again, I can say that same thing goes for Christianity as well, because Christianity preaches love, to unconditional love, actually returning hatred with love, oppression with appreciation. So why aren't you yourself now doing favoritism? Aren't you yourself being extremely biased towards Islam?
Yeah, okay, this is a very good question again.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you read Quran, the main book of Islam, in depth, okay, you don't just go across the words and you say this and that. If you read the same sentences or verses that you are using to say that Islam using the favoritism, you will find to the contrary, because Islam, when he said that, for example, the ayah that you noted at kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat linnas, it's a conditioned verse or conditioned statement. It's not at large, like that you are the best and that's it. No, it says that you are the best if you do this and that, if you do the right and forbid the wrong. Okay, and it doesn't close the door on the other people from previous faiths, or even the people living now from different beliefs. It says that the door is open to everyone and anyone if he gets the message the right way in the right time before his death. So there is no favoritism. If you just study it in depth and carefully, you will find no favoritism. But one more point, it warns the Muslims who claims that believe in Islam, that there are some stuff, if they do a wrongdoing, if they commit, they will be out of the auspices of Islam itself. So it's against Muslims also. So it can't be favoring the Muslims when it warns them of this and that. So everything is articulated in a way that if you apply it the right way, as I said, you get the right version of a way of life, a system of life.
What I can't understand is how's this different from the Bible, for example, in the New Testament. For instance,
I can tell you right now. Give me a good version. I mean, a complete version and a clear version of the Bible, or the Old Testament or the New Testament. Give me something that's clear that I can follow. Where is it?
Okay, well, clearly in the New Testament.
And not distorted, of course.
Yes, well, distortion is a claim made by every new religion towards the older ones. And what you say, others will say otherwise. You can say that you have a distorted religion, others tell you don't have a religion to start with, and where do we go from there? It's your word against others. So let's just stick to the, the versions that everybody where there's consensus here. Okay, so there's consensus about the Quran as the book of Muslims, the New Testament. There's consensus for the four Gospels: Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John. For Christians, for example. Okay, so again, if you talk that there's condition for you to be the favorite nation, and it's true, in the Quran it says, you are the best nation that ever was created to the world, with the condition that you call for the virtue and you call against the vices. If you don't do this, you are no longer the best nation. But again, in the Bible, where Jesus said, you're the light of the world, the salt of the earth, but he doesn't stop there. But he says, if the salt loses its saltiness, what good is it? It would only be thrown and trampled upon by the feet. Again, in the Bible, there are the two clear parables. There's the parable of the Pharisee and the tax collector who went to the temple. And the Pharisee was praising himself because he's a man of God, blah, 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 and so on. But the tax collector did not have the courage to raise his head and was beating his chest because he said, I'm unworthy, God. Who did God listen to? To listen to the tax collector and not the Pharisee, who is the man of God. Again, there is the other parable of the Good Samaritan. The Samaritans were the enemies of the sons of Israel. Yet a Good Samaritan was the only one who stopped and saved one of the sons of Israel, while his fellow Israelites ignored him. So isn't this exactly a clear message against double standard? So why do you want to say that only Islam has this while other religions don't? Again, in Buddhism, do the messages of Buddha and the way, yeah.
But before you go ahead, I didn't say that other religions don't have. I didn't claim that they don't have. I said they might have this for different reasons, but I didn't deny that they have it. They have, of course, because I, as a Muslim, I believe that all religions came from God. Even the ones that they don't call the heavenly religions, even Buddhism, even Hinduism, scholars have said that there are traces of real religion behind them. They just didn't come from out of the blue. They were most probably heavenly religions, and then down the history, because it's very old, got distorted or somehow. So all religions have aspects of good faith, of good ethics. So I didn't deny completely that they don't have, but I said that Islam definitely doesn't have this double standard if it's up, and again, a big if it's applied the right way. So there is a big difference between me saying that they don't have this and saying that Islam is the only one. No. Okay. I'm saying, yeah.
But again, can't we say the same for others? Like it's a misapplication. Like if other religions were used to, oppress other people and treat people in a different way, isn't this again misuse of the religion? So
I have no problem with this.
But, so how is the history of, again, let's not stick to religion only, but how is the history of race A, B, or C, culture A, B, or C, and religion A, B, or C? How are they different, really? Do you see that there's a clear difference between the history of those three religions, especially when, or these different cultures in the world by and large, especially when they were strong? Do you think we can really assess and give a good assessment of a nation or religion or culture when it's weak, or do they have to be strong? Can we assess them at their worst, or do they have to be at their peak for us to give a proper assessment?
Yeah, this is a good question again, and I think this will crystallize and clear a lot of understandings. Yeah. Let me say here that this will be, in this respect, we'll be talking about religion as against irreligion or non-religion, okay? When religion rules, truly, whether it's Islam or Christianity or Judaism or whatever, when it's applied in its time the right way, God is ruling here. And in front of God, everyone is equal, as I said before. But once you take away the essence of religion, the core of religion, the beauty of the religion, let's say, or the truthfulness of religion, and then you start the rule of man. When you start the rule of man, which in some definitions, like Prophet Muhammad put it, when you remove the religion, then starts the rule of man, which is the mulk al-adud, or the human kingdom, or something like this. And in this starts to appear the classes, because the king here is the best, and the people who are under him are a little bit down, but they are better than who are under them, and it keeps going down until you treat some people like animals. So again, so to crystallize, to cut it short, when you put the rule of God, you get the right thing, and people are equal. When you use the rule of man, you get all this racism and the classism and the classification and everything. So yeah, this is my account on this.
Okay, so the counter argument here would be, and let me just clarify this. So, are you calling for theocracy? Are you calling for the theocracy, the rule of religion, the rule of clergy? Is that what you're asking for?
Like, if you mean the rule of Islam, yes. If it's applied the right way, as I said. Because
But again, why Islam? Why are you insisting since the beginning it's only
Yeah.
Islam and the others are like, isn't this
Yeah.
clear favoritism? Isn't this a clear double standard?
No, because I said before, and of course, everyone at the end of the day is free to choose. Like, if, okay, Islam is the full version of the religion that came from the heaven, from God. Okay. And it's, in my understanding, has been tested, okay, for 1500 years almost now. And it has been proven that then when it's applied the right way, it brings happiness to everyone, and everyone can live under it in peace, like it happened in many places. But let me finish this idea. Like, and there are many thinkers that brought up this meaning. Okay, like Malik ibn Nabi, for example, in his book, I think it's the Jewish matter, something like this, or issue, something like this. He said that you should be careful not to fall under the meaning of enslaving others, and at the same time to be careful also not to be enslaved. So if you apply Islam the right way, Islam doesn't call for you to enslave others and tells you not to be enslaved at the same time. So it's the right standard. There is no double standard here. Like, to answer a question you put before, there, like, if you are as a Muslim and applying the right Islam, I'm not called or I'm not required to enslave others. I'm not required to treat them badly. Like, for example, it happened in the time of different sultan of different Islamic states in Ottoman Empire, or before or after. They committed some mistakes like this, that they were treating the ambassadors of the different nations in a bad way. This is not Islam. So, but when you apply Islam the right way, peace will be
okay. So I don't want this to be an argument or, like,
yes,
propaganda for or against Islam. We're not here to discuss.
Sure, yeah.
But again, to be fair,
Yes,
like, did the Muslim states, the Islamic states, the holy Islamic states that applied the Sharia law for hundreds of years, did they abolish or end slavery? I think you and I know the answer very well. No. There were slaves until today, actually, in many Islamic countries. Okay. And in the heart of the Muslim world, there is slavery, whether it's called clearly slavery or it has another name, but there is slavery. So, how did this help? And so, how do you see what is called the holy conquests to conquer different nations for the spread of Islam? So, North Africa and the Middle East, with the exception of Arabia or the Arabian Peninsula, are not Arabs. Their mother tongue was not Arabic at all. But today they are speaking Arabic, absolutely. And then Islam spread to Asia Minor, Southeast Asia, the Far East. It spread also in the Iberian Peninsula, in what is today Portugal, Spain, and Andorra. It reached the southern part of France. It reached places like Sicily in Italy. It later on, with the rise of the Ottoman Turks, they conquered Constantinople, heart of the Byzantine Empire, and created their own empire, and that controlled the Balkans in Europe, controlled also parts of Central Europe, reaching to Vienna. And you're calling for, like, saying that Islam is the fair and so on. How do you see from a proper, if we can say, a proper Islamic perspective, this spreading of the Muslim empire? Is this proper application of Islam, or is it otherwise?
Okay, I think we had on this before, but it doesn't hurt if we clarify it once again. As I said before, and again, if Islam is applied the right way, peace will be all over the world. Okay, so I can claim now that that Islam is not applied like now, unless it's in only that the shape. Okay, but the core of Islam is not applied. When Islam was applied before, like I believe that it was going well until some powers stopped it from working. Like I want to say that the idea of Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Like again, I'll just go to the idea of for many years, when the Islam in the beginning was preaching as the Muslims, they were preaching their call, their religion, as they were ordered to do in peace. But other nations or other people, they didn't like the call, and they started aggression against Muslims, and they had to defend themselves. Okay, so the main thing about Islam, because it's the final mission, this is the point here, because it's the final word from God. So Muslims are required to call for Islam, to let other people know about Islam. Are they required to do this with force, to force people? No, this is a misunderstanding here. And here is, please, it's a very important point here. So again, Muslims are required to carry out or to carry on with their call, with their message from God, but they are not ordered or required to fight for it, unless, and here is a big point, unless they are attacked. So if you go and search history deeply and rightly, without no distortions, you will find that when Muslims behaved the right way, there was no incursion or conquest in the sense that the thinkers in the West tried to portray it, that Muslims were aggressors. No, this might have happened sometimes in some periods of history, but I am saying when Islam was applied the right way, there was no aggression at all. It was just taking out the call, but then they get attacked, then they have to defend themselves. This is what I'm saying. I want to say.
So defending yourself means that So, under the title of self-defense, this would legitimize me going to another foreign country, staying there, and having my son, my grandson, my great-great-grandson, etc., 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 rule this country. And at the end of the day, I'm a foreigner. I don't belong to this culture. And then again, applying Arabic as the official language. Do you see this as proper Islam from your point of view? Like, is there any justification for going there and staying there generation after generation and applying
Okay.
Arabic as the official language? Is this again only for the sake of the spread of religion? Only for that?
Okay. So I understand your point, but I want to finish the previous idea with saying that because I believe that when Islam is applied the right way, there is no need for the sword or for the gun or for fighting. And I want to add that in this day and age, we don't need to even argue about Islam or the religions in general, because I believe that information are available for everyone now. And like when you are sitting in the comfort of your house, in front of your mobile or your computer, you can find all the information about Islam or other religions, and you can choose for yourself. There is no need for fighting, for clash. Okay, but to go to the other point about conquest. Okay, like I want to give you an example from history that proves that Muslims were not about like going into other people's countries and enslaving them or ruling them. One time during the Muslims wars in the area of the Levant, Muslims conquered a city or something like this. I don't remember the name exactly. But after some time, they took the jizya, the taxes, for example, let's say, from the people. But after a few days, the other army came and knocked them out of the city. Then the Muslims, what they did, they returned the money they took from the people of this city to those people, okay? Because they don't have any right to it, as they said. And what happened? Because of the fairness of the Muslims at this time, they all converted to Islam. So Islam is not about conquering other people. It's just to carrying the message. It's not about, but when you go into some place and you open it by force, you have like a human right to it. Like when you make fath or conquest, if you make it already, it's a different. Yes, you have the right as by even the international law now. You know that if you occupy some part, the international law gives you the right to stay there, but with some regulations. So it's why do you deny it for the Islam, for example, or any other religion that did that before? You understand what I'm saying? So it's different when you go already and you settle there from starting the thing with aggression.
So how is this different from North America, for example, and South America? So people coming, again, the claim was for the spread of Christianity, the spread of civilization, and so on. There are a lot of missionaries who came with the Europeans when they invaded North and South America. Again, how is this different from the Holy Roman Empire? Since the time of Constantine, who had a vision where he saw Christ and the mark of the cross, and he used this mark to conquer and get victory. And then later on, all of Europe was Latinized. So
Yes.
although all of Europe is not Latin, but all of Europe became Latinized again. And the justification was the spread of Christianity.
I
Do you see
understand.
this as absolutely fair? Because if you don't, then people might say that you are extremely biased and you're not
Yeah.
using a double standard here.
Excellent. That's an excellent question, and I think it will also clear a lot of stuff. With the a big difference in the case of the conquering the North America, because I never heard that it was for spreading Christianity, for example, or even civilization. It was only for the lust of maximizing the wealth. Okay, they were just searching for gold. Okay, but this is not the problem even.
But I'm
Even if
sorry,
they were,
I'll have to cut you off. But
okay,
there were, with every, like when when the Pilgrims came and when the first Europeans came, in every convoy, there were a group of missionaries,
Hmm.
okay, who would spread Christianity, and they would come with their crosses and crucifixes, with their Bibles and everything. And they were clergymen.
how authentic what you are saying? Because I have more authentic stories that Christopher Columbus himself, when he approached the king of Spain at that time, that he said, "Give me gold, some gold, I'll get you more gold if you send me to this to
Well,
explore."
if we look at, arguments and counter arguments, texts and counter texts,
Okay.
there are also many texts that showed that the so-called Muslims came into these countries by extreme force and applied ethnic or cultural cleansing, if you
Okay,
like.
good. That's why I'm saying even this is not the problem. I was gonna say that the problem is that when those people who came with Christopher Columbus or with all the people who did the exploration in North America, the major problem though was that they made a genocide against the original people of those lands. The problem was not exploring. The problem was the crimes they committed there, giving them disease, all kind of disease to kill them, killing them in wars with all kind of weapons, with savagery. So the problem is not in itself the exploration or conquest. It was the crime that they committed against humanity, and everyone knows this. So in the case of Islam, if you know this, that in all the world of the Muslims, the number of the Muslims killed out of the other people is much less than they did the other did to the Muslims. For example, when the Muslims when the Crusaders came to Jerusalem, this is very known, and nobody contested this fact. They killed 70,000 people in Jerusalem alone. That the blood was coming up to the necks. And this is known. I guess there is no contention about this. So, and yeah, so the answer is, again, you will not find it unless in Quran, in the book of Islam.
Okay, but again, like, yes, I know, but until today, for instance, the Muslims would deny things like the Armenian genocide, for example, and plus many others, okay?
If you let
And
me
how
finish the
was,
answer,
I'm sorry, please,
yeah,
this
yeah,
is a pivotal point here.
yeah.
How was the creation of the Ottoman Empire in Constantinople? Was it a very peaceful one? How did the old Turks look like, and how do the modern ones look today? And what happened to the early settlers who are there in Constantinople and in this, land that is called Turkey today? Did this happen peacefully, or there is a lot of raping, a lot of killing, and so on? What do you say to this?
I'm not here to defend the Ottoman Empire or anyone, by the way. I myself, I said that when the Islam was applied the right way, is different from the other times. As I said, starting from the king, the kingdom, the kingdom of human beings, the king al-Mulk al-Adud, it's Islam itself started to be different. It's not applied the right way. So, but as I was gonna say, you will find the answer in the book of Islam, and maybe in the only book of Islam, when it says that what's going on down the history of the struggles or the conflict between different nations and different people is something that Allah, the God, the Creator, wanted for
Okay,
this life
so
to continue.
if we
Okay,
talk here,
but there's
hereditary,
rules.
yes,
Sorry?
hereditary monarchy
Yes,
started at the dawn of Islam, very early on,
yes,
very early on. So,
yes.
can I say, and please correct me if I'm wrong, what I understood here is that your point of view is that since the Umayyad Empire, which
Yes.
was at the very, very, very beginning of Islam,
Yes.
onwards, Islam was applied in a wrong way.
Yes. I agree. I even wrote this in my articles.
Hmm.
The demise of Islam started way even before this, but the manifestation of the demise started with Muslims
Okay,
going
so
away from the rules or the advices or the traits of the Prophet. When Prophet said that don't take from life more than you need. When, for example, the Khalif Muawiyah ibn Abu Sufyan, when he started having the palaces and the fancy life, I believe I see the demise of Islam in this. Although it didn't, of course, collapse right away, it took many hundreds of years to see the signs and the symptoms of destruction. But it started there when Muslims started living with extravaganza and stuff like that.
So do you see the conquest of North Africa, Central Africa, Asia Minor, again, of course, the Arabian Peninsula, the Levant, Far East, and Balkans and Central Europe. Do you see this as justifiable or not, according to proper Islam?
I think no, this is bigger than me. To be honest, this is bigger than me. I can't decide when I'm sitting here that this was justified or not. But I can say, if the people who did that followed the rules of Islam, and because I don't know all the circumstances that took place at this time, okay. So, but if they applied the rules I'll give you an example, another example from the conquest in the Minor Asia, okay. One of the cities, the Muslims went into it, okay. They opened it, okay, by force, but the people there sent a message to the Khalif, and he was Umar at this time, I guess, as I remember. And they said that the rules of war in Islam says that the invaders or the attackers, they should give 3 days of warning to the people of any city before they start taking it by force. And this didn't happen in our case.
Mm-hmm.
Omar assigned a judge to investigate the case. The judge came back and said, yes, they were not warned before taking over the city. What happened? The Muslim armies were ordered to go back of the city. And the same thing that happened in the Levant, people converting to Islam, all of them, happened again in there because they saw the fairness of Islam when it's applied the right way.
Okay.
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. So, because we're going nowhere here, really, because you're insisting on being the devout lawyer for Islam here, really.
I can't deny that I'm a Muslim.
Yeah. Okay. And
everything I understand is through Islam, the mirror of Islam, or the lens of Islam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you or don't you believe that most Muslims today are extremely proud of the Islamic empires that spread all over the world? Are they proud or not? Do you see?
Are you sure of this statement? Because I don't think that Muslims think about this at all in the first place. Okay, Muslims don't even have the luxury of thinking about this.
Beautiful, beautiful. But they're like I would say hundreds of thousands of books that were written by Muslims praising this history. And we see it every day. People praising, the time when we had Andalusia, Spain, the time of Spain, the time when we knocked the doors of Vienna, the time when we knocked the door of southern France. And they say this with extreme pride, the time when we conquered, the Sindh, which is Pakistan, the time
Good.
when we conquered this and that. They're extremely proud of this history.
Yeah.
Do you justify their pride, or are you against it?
I like this question. You know why? Because I was just thinking about this today. But I will ask you, if you don't mind, give me the date of the most recent book that bragged about this. I would say there is no book even mentioning this in the time being. What is the most recent book? It might be like 50, 60 years ago, if any.
You don't have to even mention books, just, any
Because
of
you
our
said that.
viewers. Yeah, but any of our viewers, any one of our viewers
Yeah.
can easily today, with a click of a button, find millions of videos on YouTube with
Yeah.
people who claim to be very pious Muslims who extremely praise, the history of Islam, and they would claim that Islam is 100% infallible, and that the Ottoman Empire, the Umayyad Empire, the Abbasid Empire, the Fatimid Empire, etc., 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 are all infallible. Maybe the Fatimid is controversial because it's Shiites versus, Sunnis and whatnot, but they would claim, at least until the time of the Ayyubids, that they were sort of infallible, and these are things that would bring a lot of pride. The Ottoman Empire. There are TV series that are made today about the Ottoman Empire, about the Sultan Abdulhamid, the very last Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, that is watched, that has been translated in all the languages that the Muslim world would speak into. It was translated into Urdu, into Arabic, etc., etc., etc. And everybody watches this, and they would watch it and they would cry when they see Sultan Abdulhamid, how great he was, and they're so proud of him humiliating the Greeks and humiliating the etc., etc., etc.
Yes.
Do you justify this? Do you think that this is a good? Do you think what the Muslims are doing today, is this justifiable, or is this again an extreme application of double standards and bigotry?
Thank you very much for this question again, because it's beautiful. Why? Because it will bring us to talk about, is there, like when you say that some people go out on TV, on videos, on YouTube or TikTok or something, and brag about Islam and the empires and stuff. What do those people represent of Islam? Is there a collective mind of Muslims or Islam that those people can be represented inside this entity of Islam, or for example, or collective mind? This is just like very individual examples of people talking on their own, but there is no a collective mind that says that Muslims are still bragging about anything from before or now. Okay, so. And one more point that you brought out that it came to my mind now. You will not find even one country from the so-called Arabic countries that still produces any religious movies or series until this day, or even in the past 10 years or 15 years maybe. This is from the past. The only country, maybe two countries, are still producing such production of religious drama is Turkey and Iran. Other than that, there is nothing. Why? Because the collective mind is shrinking. The Islamic collective mind is shrinking, and I see Turkey and Iran as something that's offshot. It's not. It doesn't represent even any real Islamic entity. It's individual stuff again. Like the people who go on YouTube or TikTok are individual examples. Those are individual examples also. So, but if you want to talk about justifying something, let me finish. If you want to talk about justifying something, you have to talk about an entity that justifies this or not.
Do you see Iran and Turkey as good representatives of Islam?
No, I'm not saying good representatives. I'm saying those are the only two countries.
Yes, but actually, like Turkey and the President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, He
Yeah.
is, hailed from coast to coast in the Arab
Yeah.
world and the Muslim countries, and he's seen as the only hope of Muslims today. Again,
Yes.
the Shiite side of Islam, they see Iran as the only hope.
Exactly.
And do you justify this? Do you think that what both sides are saying is true, or they're just living in a big illusion?
Yeah, I agree with what you say, because I didn't say that this is a good example as you tried to say to put on my tongue. No, I'm saying they are the only two parties, two sides, two countries that are still producing this type of drama. But I didn't
Of
say that this is the thing.
propaganda, then we can just say producing
Yeah,
propaganda,
exactly.
period.
I didn't claim that this is good thing for Islam.
Mhm.
Okay, and at the same time, I don't want to be harsh and say this is very bad for Islam, but it depends on their intention, of course, because in Islam, you know that the intention in the heart makes a big difference in your deeds and your the accountability of those deeds. Okay, so I don't know the intentions behind both of them, but as it stands, as I see it, it didn't help a lot so far. It might help down the road. I don't know. So I can't say that or justify anything they do, but I'm just like watching as a journalist or as a media person what's going on around. I don't have to make decisions or hard decisions or clear decisions or final decisions about everything. But I watch, I notice. I don't have to justify or to be against or with.
So last but never least, actually.
Yes.
So people today from some parts of the world, or all parts of the world actually, are saying that other people are using double standards. Why are they using double standards? Why do they respect their people but not ours? Why do they respect the life of their children but not ours? Do you think that any of these claims and accusations are really justifiable, or is it just extreme bigotry, extreme double standard from the accuser, and they are just they're seeing with one eye, they're putting their opponent under the microscope,
Yeah.
while turning a blind eye completely towards their own? So you say, like, why don't they care about our children? Why don't they cry about our children? Well, the other side will say, when did you cry about ours? Did you ever cry about our children?
Yeah.
So
I
what
think
do you say to this?
the most recent example for this that will make the everything clear
Mm,
is the double standard used by what the so-called West in the examples of Ukraine and Gaza and Palestine.
mm,
When the Ukraine war started and Russia started bombing the Ukrainian people, the Western society, or if we can call it like Western society, they cried and they like started a war, a media war that didn't stop
perfect.
until the Gaza war started.
Perfect.
Then
Yeah.
they forgot everything about Ukraine and they started supporting the enemy or the aggressor. I mean, against. So they did the opposite for
Perfect.
in the
Perfect.
Palestinian example, and this is a good example for double standard. And it was pictured in the cartoonist did it with the one eye with Ukraine open and one eye blocked with about Gaza.
Perfect.
So this is yeah.
Okay. How about the other side? Is it only the West that's using a double standard while the others are not using a double standard?
Yes, because as I started my talk in the beginning, I said the double standard as we know it now started after or around World War One when the Western society or Western powers started to tighten their grip all over the world, and still until now it didn't change.
But again, we
The
talked about
powers
this at the beginning, actually. The double standards were implemented or applied since the dawn of history, actually.
yeah,
Yeah, maybe the term was coined or became official in the books, yes, since World War One. But regardless of when was it, applied or coined, or like when it came to the academic world, but it was always there. Double standards are as old as humanity itself.
But
So
as I said, the
yeah.
situation we have ever since 19, let's say even let's take the Balfour Promise
Hmm.
1917 as
Okay, okay,
as a
but but
starting
but
point. Again,
but
someone else said, the situation didn't change ever since. The powers who rule the world are still those. The power who are
but again,
subjugated are
again,
still the same.
again,
The same.
it is the same thing since the dawn of history by everyone. Why are you insisting on just bringing it since World War One? And when did other countries, okay, so other non-Western countries, did they move a muscle for the massacres that are happening in the Ukraine? The obvious answer is no. So why are they expecting the rest of the world to move a muscle for the massacres happening in them? This would only mean that they see themselves to be superior than others. So how dare you accuse someone of something you are doing? So as far as I can see, and please correct me if I'm wrong, all
Yes.
humans are the same. All humans are equally guilty. If one tries to say that East is better than West, or West is better than East, North is better than South, South is better than North, they are bigots, and they are using an extremely blind eye towards themselves. And this is an appalling use of double standards.
But who are you talking about now? Like in the other on the other
About all
side.
the world, actually. About all the world.
This is something I think you can't misunderstand. You can't understand now. If we talk about the world after 1917 or 1918, the end of World War One, there is only one power that's ruling the world, and other people are subjugated to it, enslaved to it. So when you say,
How is this different from any time in history? How is this different from any time in history?
when we talk about the point of
It's always clashes of empires, civilizations. Again, name me one empire since the dawn of history, since the ancient Chinese, Mesopotamia, or Egypt.
yes,
Okay, since that time, name me one empire that had mercy on the weaker nations. Did it ever happen that one strong nation, one strong empire had any mercy, applied any mercy on weaker nations? Name me one, please.
yeah.
Once.
If you're talking about a general human meaning, yes, I agree with you. Agree with you.
So
Yes, because this is the nature of
it
people.
was applied by all sides of the world, all religions, all cultures, all races. Whenever they are the superior ones, they would completely crush, annihilate, use ethnic cleansing. They would use ethnocide, genocide, oppression towards the weaker party. Period. This is putting human history in a nutshell.
Okay, again, I'm saying when you talk about a general idea about humanity, this is correct, and has been told to us by God in His book that this will happen. Okay, and that's why He put rules and conditions of when clashes happen. So in Islam, when you go to war, you don't kill a kid or a woman or an elderly guy or someone who's worshiping him God in his seclusion. Okay, don't kill animals. Don't burn
But at the
houses.
end of the day,
One second. Okay.
how many times would this really applied? Because
Yes. So,
in other religions, for example, there is no war even to start with. So
no, that's not right.
you're
If
saying
you go to the Torah or the Bible, they kill they say when you go to a war and you are victorious, kill everyone and burn every house. And
this is in the Old Testament, not in the New Testament at all. So
because the Old Testament doesn't have
in Buddhism and Hinduism, there are many different things. So this argument will never end, actually. But so if we would like to conclude, actually, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I think double standards, this scale behind me, is as old as humanity, and it's still like that. I don't think there was just any glimpse in history when this scale had a real balance. Not
If you
one.
insist, if you insist not to see that I said that the balance will be achieved when Islam is applied the right way, then there is no answer. I said Islam is the final message from God. If you want to talk about religion, because if you don't talk about religion,
Only Islam is the solution. So all the other beliefs, faith, cultures are inferior. So, and isn't this again a super manifestation of double standards, of bias, of bigotry from your side again towards Islam?
it depends how you understand life and your existence in life. If you think your life, you're just in life just for
So, so
fantasy, or if you
okay,
don't,
okay,
if you
okay.
want to take life
So,
serious,
so according to what you're saying, you can
yes.
never blame if anybody tells you Christianity is the solution. Judaism is the solution. Buddhism is the solution. Hinduism is the solution. Because
Remember,
you
okay.
know, you believe that Islam is the best way, and that's why you're a Muslim. Definitely, somebody who's a Christian believes Christianity is the best way to go. Somebody's a
But for
Buddhist
him,
believes, so it's then we're going nowhere. Actually, we'll
just,
go
just
nowhere.
remember, just remember that I said a few minutes ago that I don't see any need in this day and age for any conflict, for any clash between human beings, because all the information are available, okay, and everyone can search for himself and know the good and the bad and choose for himself. I'm not saying Islam is the best, that you have to be subject to it. No, even it says clearly in Quran, you can't force people to be faithful, to be Muslims. You can't do this.
Mhm.
Islam itself, the book from God, the final message from God, it tells you you will not be a Muslim if you force people to be Muslims. You understand the contradictory? You can't do this. It's against Islam to force people to be Muslims in the first place. So now in this day and age of mass information and mass knowledge, that you can, with just hitting a button, get all the information you need, there is no need for clash at all. 100%. So if you like, yeah, I can say what I want to say. You accept it or not, you're free, and I'm free with no clash. As I say,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Uh, Again, it's a lengthy topic, but I really have to thank you very much for being with me today and for like going through all these different parts of the discussion. Thank you very much again.
I thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
And dear viewers, if we were to come to a conclusion here, actually, it's unfortunately, humans always have these double standards and bigotry, stereotypes, prejudice. It's always there. It's always there. We started at home. We started with our children, insisting that our children are the best. And for a world to be just, our children should be the kings and queens of this world because they're part of us. So, I didn't get what I deserved by being the king of the world. So maybe a part of me, the future me, my son or my daughter or my grandson or granddaughter can get that. But people unfortunately tend to forget that we're all made of the same material. You know, if you just take off the facade, if you take the skin off, we're all made the same. We all have the same ambitions, the same greed again. So if you insist that I'm the best one and my children deserve the best, then you're justifying the same for the other people. And where do we go from there? Where do we go from there? If there's one cake I want it all, and the other one wants it all, or I want to divide it according to my vision, and he wants to divide it according to his vision, this is the perfect recipe for war. And this is why, since the dawn of history until today, there was not a single year, 1 year, without war. Can you name me just 1 year where there is peace on this planet? Impossible. Whether it was direct war, proxy war, regardless. Sometimes this war, whether this war was based on culture, religion, patriotism, economic reasons, whatever, there's always this war. And if we don't end this madness and understand to share things and to give people the same rights we give to ourselves, because at the end of the day, you and me, whether you like it or not, we are made of the same material. You and me come from one source. If we resort to science or if we resort to religion, if it's Adam and Eve, or if it's, the Homo erectus, the Neanderthal, whatever you want to call it, in both cases, we are from the same source. So we should at least deserve the same chance. Dear viewers, until we meet again, I hope you have a very pleasant time. Thanks for watching.